Hello, Nelson families. My name is Mr. Van Auken. I am a teacher here at Nelson Middle School, and I'm also the technology integrative specialist as well. I teach eighth grade social studies, and my goal for this tutorial video is to help you understand Google Classroom. Okay, we want to try and support as many families as possible with a clear presentation on how to understand what your students should be working on, really the interface that teachers are going to use, so that everything is as simple as possible during this sort of complicated time with education. So we want to make sure that you have as much communication as possible and that families really understand what Google Classroom is. So for this video, we're really going to have three goals, okay? The first goal is for you to be able to understand what Google Classroom is. As the family members supporting your students, we want to make sure that you are familiar, just as familiar with Google Classroom as they are. So we want to understand what Google Classroom is really as a whole. The second one is to navigate Google Classroom. So there's really two sections of Google Classroom, and we want to make sure that you really are familiar with those two sections that your students are going to be accessing. And then the third thing is to understand how to find assignments and how to turn them in, because that's really the goal of Google Classroom. Is it is a program that your students' teachers are going to use to upload assignments, to push out assignments, to make announcements, to leave feedback, things like that. The whole point is Google Classroom is a sort of interactive classroom. Okay, so we have those three goals. What is Google Classroom? How to navigate Google Classroom, and then thirdly, how to understand how to find assignments and how to turn them in and understand the feedback that your students are given as well. Okay. So first part is you need to know how to access Google Classroom. I would say about 90%, 99% of our students should know how to do this already, but we want you to be just as familiar. So there are really three ways to access Google Classroom. First way being, you can simply in the Google browser in your student's Chromebook, you could just type in Google Classroom. And because you are using Google Chrome, Google Classroom is going to pop up. So your students can just search Google Classroom. And if you go down to the second one here that says classroom.google, you can go ahead and click on that. It will take you to Google Classroom. Another way to do that is if you are on the Google page, and your students should always be signed into their Google account. It doesn't really ever log them out. So they should always be signed in to their Google account. If they go and click on the Google apps here, you can see that there is a Google Classroom app that takes them to Google Classroom. And really, the third way is if they go to their Hello ID application dashboard, there is a Google Classroom tab there. So there's really three ways to access Google Classroom on their computers. Okay, so we're going to exit out of all of these. That way, this is simple as possible. So once they open Google Classroom, you're going to see all of their classes right here. Okay, remember, I'm a teacher, so I'm going to have a little bit more classes, but your student, you should see about 4 to 5, maybe 6 classes on Google Classroom, depending if all their um, teachers are using Google Classroom. So remember, I have all my classes that I'm a teacher in. So I have all of these here, first, second, third, fifth, and sixth period. And then I'm also have these other classes that I'm also a teacher in. Your student is just going to have classes that they're enrolled in. Okay, and you know they're enrolled because it shows a little picture here and a little picture here of who the teachers are. So the teacher of this one is Anne Tremont, and the teacher of this one is Haley Mullen. Okay, I am a student in Miss Mullen's period one US history, just as a sample to show you guys what it's going to look like as the student view. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So I'm going to have her, my quote unquote, me as a student. This is what your student should be looking at. And then I'm also going to have my teacher one as well. Okay, just to show you the sort of differences a little bit. Okay, so for example, here is my first period. So I'm going to go back to classes really quick. So pretend your student is logging in. They're going to click on what they need to do in period one US history. This is what they're going to see. Okay, so now that we've accessed a class, that is really that first step. Okay, this is the main page of Google Classroom. Now, there are two sections of that. So we really answered that first question of what is Google Classroom. Okay. Google Classroom is a interface. It is a online interactive classroom where the teachers are going to be posting assignments to students. They are going to be posting announcements, materials, things like that. Okay. We are on that front page of a class in Google Classroom. And that next goal that we're going to look at is how to navigate Google Classroom. Okay, so there are really two sections of Google Classroom. Okay, there's the stream, which is what it'll always take you to. It says right there, the stream, or there's classwork. Okay, we are going to start on the stream. I'm going to show you guys what this stream entails. Okay, so the stream, think the best way to explain what the stream is to think about a Facebook page, okay, like a Facebook stream or whatnot. So the stream is going to show everything that a teacher posts. Okay, it's going to show assignments. It says right there. Oh, I'm going to click on that. It shows assignments. You can see it says right there, Haley Mullen posted a new assignment. It's going to show announcements. So, for example, your students' teachers can reach out with just a message or an announcement. Maybe if there's a change in schedule or just to check in. There's an announce. You notice I cannot comment on announcements as well as a student. So this is not really a method where a student is going to reach out that way, but this is just an announcement that a student can see on the stream. Also, your teachers can post materials. So think about if a student or if a teacher is showing a video or showing a map or something like that. A teacher can also post on the stream a material as well. So, for example, I'm just going to click on this material really quickly. It says use these materials to fill out the immigrants and the railroad worksheet. So, this is when we were still in school. And I'm assuming actually I know because I did as well, Miss Mullen passed out a immigrants and the railroad worksheet, and then students would use these materials to fill out that worksheet. So you can see there's a YouTube video and some images. So think about this as a student. If there's a material, I click on it and I can go ahead and watch that video. I click on the image, I can go ahead and open that image up. Okay, so that is material. So the stream is where your student can see everything that is going on. They can see assignments that are posted, they can see announcements, they can see materials. There's also questions that can be asked where students can answer, and I will show you from my point of view. Remember, so now I'm on my teacher view. This is where I could share something. I could make an announcement to the class. This is the announcement I've given to the class, and I've also posted a question here where students can actually answer that question, and then they can go ahead and the teacher can have the option of students to respond to one another, or they can just make it to where only the teacher looks at the responses. Okay, so they can also post a new question as well. So on the stream, you might see a teacher post a question as well. Okay, so that is the stream. That is one main section of Google Classroom. Okay, think of it as anything that Miss Mullen is going to post on Google Classroom is going to show up on the stream. Okay, next thing that we are going to look at is the classwork. Okay, there's two ways to get to classwork. The stream also shows you what is due, what is upcoming and due. And the reason I'm not going to click on this yet is because there are different ways to access this screen. Okay. So if I go to classwork, this shows all of the classwork here. Okay. And I know it can get a little overwhelming to see all of this. You also have to keep in mind if a teacher has already been using Google Classroom for your student, there's going to be a lot more assignments on here. Okay, so for example, these were posted March 11th, posted March 11th. These don't have any due dates. This was all before schools went to remote and when we were still in school. Okay, so that could get a little overwhelming. So just keep in mind that I would really pay attention to the due dates as well. These were posted March 11th. We were still in school when these were posted. Okay, so this right here just shows all the assignments that have been posted, but we don't really get a lot of information out of these, right? It doesn't really show us whether they're turned in, assigned, or anything like that. If you click on it, it shows whether it's assigned or turned in or things like that. But a simpler way to look at this as a student is to click this right here, view your work. Okay. This shows all of the work, all of the assignments that students that your student should be filled out on. Okay. You can filter those by if any missing work your student has. Now, keep in mind, I haven't done any of these assignments because this is just my sample, but also pay attention to the date. These are the way before we went to remote learning. You can see the ones that your teacher has looked at and returned as a grade. And then also you can look at the ones that are just assigned. Okay. I'm going to take those filters off and just see everything in total. Okay, so there are two ways to look at this screen. I'm going to go back to classwork. You can click view your work to look at this screen, or if you go back to the main stream, you can go to view upcoming and you can view all, and it takes you to the same screen. Okay, once again, stream, view all to view all the work, or classwork, view your work. Okay, this is where all your students' assignments are located. Now, what we're going to get into next is I'm going to show you how a student is going to access the assignment and turn that assignment in. Okay, so from either this screen here, I can click this and go to view details. And this is really the main screen of an assignment. Or I can go to classwork and I can click on this as well. And this shows me that it's missing, and I can go to view assignment. Okay, and it's the same screen for 4.33 Mexican War. Okay, this is sort of the basic screen of an assignment. You can see here, this is where instructions will be. So it says, please use the reading right here to fill out the organizer. And then the vital piece is the your work piece right here. Okay, that is where students are going to access their actual worksheet and they're going to turn in the assignment as well. Okay, so I'm going to sort of pretend to do this assignment to show you as an example. So I'm going to go ahead and use this reading. So I'm going to click on that reading. That's going to open up a new page. Keep in mind, I as a student cannot edit this. So 100 students could be on this document at once and they are not allowed to type on it. Okay. You can see I'm trying to type. You can hear the keyboard and it does not. It says request edit access right there. Okay. So that is my sort of reading. And then the next piece, if I go to your work, it's going to open up my document. This is only my worksheet. This is not shared with other students. So let's say I do the reading, I look, I answer the questions, I type in my answers here, and let's say I'm all finished. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and double check my work. What you are going to do now, which is very important, once you are finished, you are going to press that turn in button there. Make sure that students are pressing that turn in button because the teacher does not know that this is filled out until the student actually turns it in. Then it will notify that they have turned it in. This is also a Google Doc, so it saves everything the student does. So I can exit out of this document and I can open it back up and it's still going to have that work saved. Okay. So let's say I've finished the document. I can go ahead and press turn in here and boom, that will notify the student or that will notify the teacher that it is turned in. Okay, so now if I go back to this upcoming here, if I go to view all, this assignment went from missing to turned in, done late. Okay. So the reason it says done late is because it's past the due date. But if I was to do the same thing with this one here, if I click on the assignment, not me to do that. If I click on view details and I turn this assignment in and I go back, it says no work due because I turned it in. Okay. Now I'm going to unturn it in to show you what it's going to look like on the calendar. So bear with me. Students can also unsubmit if they want, if the teacher maybe provides them feedback and says, hey, can you go back to look at question 2? They can unsubmit, they can re-edit and also turn it back in. Oh, sorry about that. I should go back here. All right. So that is how you actually turn in the assignment. So once the assignment is turned in, okay, if we look at 4.33, the assignment that we turned in, it now says turned in or turned in late, okay? For example, this assignment here is also turned in. That means I have turned it in. But if you look at 4.3.1, it says return. This means that Miss Mullen has looked at my assignment, she has graded it, she has may provided feedback and has now returned it to me. Okay. So if I go to view assignment, you can see here when it says returned, she may have looked at grade and she even gave me feedback, says really nice job. So that way I know that she has looked at it, that it is counted. Okay. Same thing if I go to my stream and I go back and look at the work, you can see the check mark means that she returned it. Okay. So there's really 4 statuses an assignment for your child can be. They can be assigned, which means that they have not done it yet and that it is not past the due date because you can see this is due April 3rd and I'm actually making this video on April 1st. It can be turned in, meaning your student has done the assignment, they've submitted it, and the teacher has not yet looked at it. Or there can be a check mark, which means that the teacher has looked at it, they have returned it, and you can see here um, this little sort of dialogue box shows that Miss Mullen even left a comment on my assignment. Okay. And then the last one is missing. Okay. So assignments can either be assigned, they can be turned in right here, they can be returned, or they can be missing. Okay. So that is the 4 statuses of an assignment. The last thing that I want to show you is the different things that teachers can add on certain assignments. Okay. So I'm going to show you this assignment here, 4.1.3. Remember, we can access this assignment by clicking View Details here, and it pulls up this screen. Or if we go to Classwork and we go to 4.1.3 right here, and I click View Assignment, it pulls up that same screen. So remember, there's 2 ways to get to that screen. Now, this assignment here is showing different things that teachers can upload to an assignment. So it says right here, in the instructions, use the first link, maps.pdf, to answer part 1, analyzing the spread of slavery compared to free African Americans on the organizer. Use the video and the reading to answer part 2, guiding questions. Okay, so like the same thing, I'm going to click my work. That opens up that screen here. Part 1, like it says here, use the map to answer part 1. So this is not just a reading, but the teacher can upload a video, they can upload maps like this, they can upload a YouTube video here. So I would watch this YouTube video and I would look at the maps, or I would look at the maps to answer part 1, this part here, and then I would use the video and the reading to answer this part 2 guiding question. Okay, so Teachers can upload more than just readings to these assignments. Okay, another example that can be used as well is 4.3.1 has different links. Okay, so it says top link part one. Please answer the reflection questions after watching the video in this link. So in this assignment, Ms. Mullen has uploaded actually links to other websites. Okay, so if I click on this, this takes me to a website where I'm going to answer questions. It says please answer the reflection questions after watching the video. Okay, so the Trail of Tears video part one. I've uploaded Trail of Tears video, or I've opened that website to this Trail of Tears video. Once I'm done, I can go ahead and exit that out. And in part two, this is the computer simulation. So I'd go ahead, middle link is the link for part two. This try your hand at being a tribal leader. In this computer simulation, you'll be playing the role of a Dakota leader. Answer the reflection questions after playing the simulation. So I would go ahead and click on the link number 2. And I would go ahead and do that simulation as well. Okay, so you can see teachers don't just have to post readings or videos, but they can actually post links to other assignments as well. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you guys is teachers in their instructions might ask a student to upload a video or upload a Google Doc of their own. Okay, how they are going to do that is this button right here. On their assignment, it says add or create. Now, a student can create a new document. They can create a new slide. They can add a link. Let's say they made a infographic or a Adobe Spark, anything like that. They can add that link there. They can add a file from their actual device. Okay, so a student can actually upload additional assignments, additional work, not just the worksheet that they completed. Okay, so once they uploaded all of that, they would go ahead and press turn in, and they would actually be attaching them just like someone would attach attachments to an email or something like that. Okay, so your student is also going to be may be asked to upload their own Google Docs or their own uh, Google Slide or maybe Prezi or Flipgrid video as well. Okay, that is really about it. So to kind of quickly review, we have the stream. Think of it as the Facebook post. That's how you really navigate the stream. You might have assignments. You might have announcements. You might have materials. You might have questions. And then you have the class work, which is all of the work that your student is going to be receiving. You can look at this work in a little bit of a simpler way by clicking view your work. There is work that is assigned, which means it is not completed. There is work that is turned in, which the teacher has not looked at or returned. There is returned work, and then there's also missing work. Okay. Another way to look at this as well is if your student goes to calendar, and I'm going to look at just my one class for the calendar that I'm a sample teacher in. But this calendar as well might help your student look at all the assignments that are due. Okay, and then they can go ahead and click on that assignment and it'll take them right to it as well. Okay, so that calendar piece is also a helpful tool to use. Okay, so you have that assignment screen also right here where I just overlaid the different kind of assignments. And lastly, I showed you how to upload different files and different attachments to the assignments as well. I hope I have answered all of your questions, and I hope that you've come away from this tutorial video with a proper and better understanding of what your students are going to be accessing in Google Classroom. Please reach out and have your student email their teacher if there are any questions. Your student's teacher should be very capable and very aware of how to use Google Classroom. And they could also email me if there are any questions as well. Okay. I hope this video answered all your questions, and I hope this video helps you walk away with a better understanding and hopefully a little bit of an easiness or to be at ease and a little bit of familiarity with what your student is going to be doing in the meantime while schools are going through this sort of change. Thank you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day and that you stay safe as well. Thank you.